First, let me say thank you for watching this video. It's always important for me to believe and hope that I'm adding value to others, particularly our leaders of the world. And through any education that I might impart, that you're able to add value to others as well. Today, what we're going to talk about is communication. So much has been spoken about on the topic of communication. So much has been written about it. We're going to cover a slightly different aspect of it, communicating to connect. Many people talk, many people communicate, but few connect. And it's so pivotally important to make a connection. If you truly want to win influence, especially as a leader, if you want to be able to guide your people to results and towards your vision. So that's why we're going to cover this topic today. I came from an industry that was probably one of the most cynical industries ever, law enforcement. I was a leader in law enforcement at 24 years old. And I'll tell you, I didn't have a lot of tools in the basket to incentivize people. There are a lot of things that we really can't use as leaders in law enforcement to incentivize people. So I learned firsthand how important it was for me to accomplish my vision, to be able to form a connection with the people in my unit, to be able to get them and guide them and subscribe to the results that I needed so that we could accomplish our mission. Through that, and through the 7 years now that I've spent on the corporate side of things since my law enforcement career ended, and being in leadership positions there, I've found that it's equally as important to be a good communicator and, more importantly, a good connector. In order to really get what you're after, to be understood, it requires that you connect with people. And it's equally as important for the leaders to do it as well. Whether you're talking to kids as a parent, whether you're talking to colleagues, whether you're talking to those that work for you, in order to be understood, you need to be able to connect with people. And only through that understanding are you able to achieve your goals and accomplish what you want. There are many things you can do to really enhance your connection with another person. But let's deal with just a few here today. Whether you're talking to a group, whether it's a larger presentation, whether it's one-on-one communication, where you begin to connect with somebody is when you adopt the attitude that the communication you're about to engage in is about them. It's about that other person. It's about listening to them. It's about understanding them and not really pushing your agenda. When you come at that approach in a genuine fashion, people understand it. People feel it. People recognize that you truly care about them. As a result of that, when they feel that you're invested in them, they invest more in you. When they feel appreciated by you, they will appreciate you more. This is probably the first and most significant way that you can begin to connect with somebody, is to genuinely be interested and engaged in what they have to say. What that translates to very often is your physical behavior as well, right? How many times have you been in a situation where you're having a conversation with somebody and they look down at their phone? The minute that happens, I disengage. I think to myself, this person isn't interested. So, when you're in an opportunity and you're having a conversation, regardless, again, of what level it is, a colleague, a boss, a kid, a spouse, when you're in that situation and having that communication, you have to be all in. You can't be distracted by the many mindless things we do. I'll look at the watch, I'll look past the person, I'll look at the phone. You really need to be genuinely invested in what that other person is saying. Come at it from that approach, and that'll be your first indicator that you're connecting with somebody. The second piece of advice that I would give is be vulnerable. People make the mistake that when they share personal aspects of themselves, that level of vulnerability will come back somehow and hurt them. I've never had that experience. And I tell you, I came from an industry where vulnerability really wasn't at the top of the menu. But as a leader or somebody that's really looking to improve their communication, when you share a piece of yourself with somebody, they're much more apt to appreciate you and share a piece of themselves back. So I would encourage you to absolutely be vulnerable. It's often said that when you speak from your head, people listen. But when you speak from your heart, people follow. And that's a really good paradigm and a perspective to have when you're communicating. That genuineness, that vulnerability is extremely important. And while we're on the topic of vulnerabilities, many leaders mistake vulnerability with weakness. It's not. And they're often afraid to be vulnerable in front of the people that they're leading. This is not a situation where you have to worry about having it all or nothing. You absolutely can show vulnerability to your people. You could seek advice from them. You could seek answers from them. When you're afraid to show vulnerability, when you think as a leader that you have to have all the answers, that's the surest way to kill innovation. It's an innovation killer. So when you solicit the advice of the people that you're working with, part of your team, they feel invested. So if you're setting the vision, you're setting the path, you're setting the mission for whatever you're leading, You need to have that investment back from those people. They're the ones that are going to carry you forward. And in order to do that, they need to feel valued. They need to have buy-in. The minute you start to solicit their input, take their advice, it doesn't show weakness, it shows strength. And not only that, it gets that buy-in. It makes that team move forward, and that's where you need to be. One last piece of advice for today. Approach every communication, every conversation, every opportunity to give a presentation, to give a small group talk, one-on-one conversation, optimistically. Approach it with optimism. Even if you've had a conversation with a person in the past and it didn't go so well, don't preordain this one to fail. Come at it from a different approach. True, it's important to recognize what happened in the past so that you can correct it going forward, but come into it optimistically. If you come into it with a negative attitude, you will for certain fail in that next conversation as well. So it's important that you go in with optimism to accomplish the goal of that communication, to give that person that's with you the benefit of the doubt, to try everything in your power to form that connection and to make a difference and to have that communication succeed and ultimately win you the influence that you need as a leader or as a person. I mean, there's been opportunities in everybody's lives when you've been given a presentation or been talking to a small group and you thought to yourself, geez, am I not connecting with these people? How is this happening? Or why can't I get this person to understand that I'm valuable to the company, that I deserve a raise, I deserve a promotion? Because chances are you're communicating and you're not connecting. And so we need to change that perspective. And part of that is coming into a conversation confidently and optimistically. Well, that's it for today, guys. I really appreciate you being here. I hope to see you on future videos. I will be posting other ones about leadership, communication, expanding this topic and other leadership topics as well. Vision, setting the path for your organization, increasing the morale for your people. So I really hope to see you in the future. And I'll leave you with this one last thought. Remember that talent, education, skill, training is not enough. They're all important, but communication is probably one of the single most greatest skills you can possess to be able to realize your vision, whether it's in a family or whether it's in an organization. And in order to communicate effectively, you need to connect. Thank you.